Well, I'm revisiting the Cirola today. We got it fixed up and working, finally. There were a number of issues with it, needed to be taken care of. Not the least of which was the the turntable was cockeyed pretty badly because they had one of these, this particular rubber washer, which is rock hard. The other two that were underneath the motor probably split off and fell out, and they replaced them with felt, which compresses a lot more than rock hard rubber does, so it was kind of sitting at a bit of an angle, which you really can't do. I mean, they had things under the brake to lift it up enough to stop the turntable. Not how you're supposed to fix something like that. Now what I did was I took the spacers that the HMV 102 portable uses between its motor and its motorboard, and I substituted them for the rock hard rubber washers, put a couple of regular metal washers in there with it to get the proper height, and perfect. If it's good enough for the HMV 102, it'll certainly work on the Cirola. You don't really need rubber under there. Yeah, steel will do it too, so that's never going to deteriorate again and cause the problem. Number two was, where is it? I had it here, but I guess I got rid of it. The weight assembly on the governor was in bad shape. Now these weights, the governor weight is riveted to the spring, and then it's screwed to the governor body. What I was going to do was take Victor Victrola governor springs, they're the same exact size, put them in there and use Victor weights, which are larger and would have looked a little different, but I would have been able to make them work. Instead, I discovered, while searching through my pile of parts motors, a spare camp phone motor with the exact same weight assembly in it, exact same governor body, all I did, and in very good shape. I just took it off, substituted it on for this one, and perfect. Which does beg the question, is this a Swiss motor or is this a Heinemann motor? I'm not familiar with every Heinemann motor. They were very, very common in the off-brand machines. Heinemann made parts for basically all of them in the 1920s. And like tone arm, for instance, that's a Heinemann tone arm. I know it is because I have one on numerous outing talking machines that I have, and I've seen them in other machines. Standard Heinemann. So why not the motor too? It looks Swiss to me because it's a steel plate with pillars. Looks pretty Swiss. And it does look like, you know, some of the older Swiss motors I have. And it has the two fiber gears, which is something the Swiss like to do. At least one fiber gear. But I know the camp phone motor is a Heinemann. And it has the same governor. So it is possible this is a Heinemann motor in here, just a different style I'm not familiar with. I don't know. There were something like 400 different manufacturers putting their name on some form of phonograph between 1900 and 1930. So it's kind of difficult to keep track of them all. Cirola was around for a few years. They were made in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Cirola phonograph motor company. And they had an idea that was different. You know, it's not the same old. Most of these so-called off-brand phonographs kind of look the same. Different size boxes, different size horns, but all sort of the same basic layout as any phonograph. All they were trying to do was get around Victor's patents, and that's what Cirola did. They took the Heinemann tone arm, flared the bottom, made it into a horn. There it is. It mounts just like that. And they used the ordinary lid of the box as a sound reflector, right there. So you got a little bit of Victor Victrola 35 and a little bit of an outside horn machine in this one. And it works. It works. And you know, everything else is pretty conventional. You have, you know, your basic 10-inch turntable. Speed controls is another example of getting around Victor patents. It is not as good as the one Victor uses. I've noticed when I'm cranking this machine, that speed control, even though I have tightened it up, tends to move. So I have to reset it every time I use the machine. But I have it set anyway, so I know where to put it. It's just a matter of turning the dial. Took care of the brake. Again, getting around Victor. Victor brakes have like a clamshell design to hold the leather like this. And you open them up, put the leather in, and then you close it back up again. Leather stays in there. This one is a solid circle, so you have to kind of shave the leather down and pull it through. It's difficult. It's a pain. And again, getting around Victor patents. And now, this is a pot metal tone arm. And pot metal, you never really know what you're going to get. It could be swollen and cracked and falling apart, or it could be in good shape. And this one is in good shape. There's no cracks in there. There's no splits. It's not swollen. And everything still moves. It's not tight. There are a few blisters on the reproducer itself, but only minor ones. Now, as for this nonsense, show you looking at this and going like, what the hell did he do? The original diaphragm on this was so dead, so delaminated, it was like a piece of plastic cut out of a water bottle. Totally useless. And the size is a little bit different. It's smaller, slightly smaller than a Victrola number 4 or Columbia uses, and it is larger than the number 2 Victrola, which is the two most common ones you find available, you know, on the market today. I searched through my collection of oddball reproducers. I was unable to find one that fit just right. So I used a Victrola number 2 reproducer's diaphragm, gaskets from a number 4 and a number 2 sort of overlaying on one another to take up the air gap there. And I sandwiched it in there in such a way that I was able to get the needle bar straight. It's the needle straight on there. It's aligned properly. And somehow this worked. I didn't think it would. I'm sure the volume was not as high as it would be if the original diaphragm was in here. And normally this would have tube gaskets, same as the ones used on the Victor Victrola exhibition, you know, reproducer, or the HMV exhibition. It did not have custom cut foam gaskets for two different reproducers in there. One day I will find the right size and I'll do it right, but I wanted to be able to play this machine after I got the motor back together, and this will allow me to do it. I've tested it already and it actually worked. I was astounded. I thought for sure a horribly distorted sound, it'll probably last half a record and at the end of it, but no, it's actually working. Okay, why don't we play this record now? This is, by the way, Over There by Nora Bass. Let's do this carefully. We do not want to drop this heavy reproducer on this record. That would upset me.
Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Hear them calling you and me. Everyone for liberty. Hurry right away, no delay, stop stay. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad. Tell your sweetheart not to pine, to be proud of our boys in line. Over there, send the word over there, that the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming, the drums are coming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there. Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Johnny, show the Hun you're a son of the sun. Hoist the flag and let her fly. Yankee Doodle, do or die. Pack your little kit, show your grit, do your bit. Yankees to the ranks, from the towns and the tanks. Make your mother proud of you, and the old red, white, and blue. Over there, send the word over there, that the Sammies are coming, the Sammies are coming, the drums coming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there, over there. Send the word over there, that the Sammies are coming, the Sammies are coming, the drums coming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there.
Well, like I said, I am astounded that that actually worked. But good enough for now until it breaks or I find something better. And that's a... Oh, I didn't show you the tag. Here's your phonograph tag on the Cirola. Zoom in on it so you can see a little bit better. A6062 is the serial number on this one. And this appears to be a mahogany box. I definitely see veneers on there. You can see it's cracking slightly over here. That's a veneer. The side panels look like they're solid. Hard to tell for sure, but I don't see a seam there really that would indicate to me that there is a veneer on there. That's definitely the original finish on there. Now, I don't remember exactly when these were manufactured. I know it's the 1920s. It's going to be the early 1920s. Now, there's a lot of confusion because these reproducers, I don't know if you can make that out. It says 1916 on there. Let's see if I... Patented in 1916. Patented. That is not when it was actually made. That's when it was patented. So, if I recall, these are going to be like contemporary to the Victor Victrola 50 over there. You know, early 1920s. Early to mid 1920s. Then they disappeared. Like most of these companies, they were around a few years, and then that was that. You know, people moved on. They wanted lightweight, fabric-covered boxes. Some of the Victor patents were expiring, and they could use more design features. And that was the end, you know, for a lot of companies like this. But it's a neat little machine. You know, let me see if I could damage anything here. Knock anything over. I do not want to hit the 50. I'll show you where everything stows. Excuse me for a second. There we go. Okay. There's your storage compartment. I think I showed this in the last video. That's where the tone arm hides. And there is a sample of what the original finish looked like in the 1920s. You know, mirror finish on there. You don't see that anymore. That's where the tone arm hides. Maybe that's why it was in such good condition now, because it was well protected. And when it's all, you know, folded up together and put away, this is a nice compact little box. You know, it's not a difficult machine to carry around. It plays well enough for a portable. This is not supposed to be a substitute for your big credenza, even though some portables like the 50 or the HMV 102 sound great, or the 255, they sound fantastic. But they're not supposed to be a substitute for your big machine. This didn't even try to be a substitute. That's it. It just tried to be a portable phonograph, and it worked out well for that. And there you go. There is a look at the Cirola, now once again functional, playing as it should. And eventually I will find the correct parts to do that reproducer. I probably have one somewhere. I just got to dig it up. I had so many outings, and I know they all had reproducers like this on them. I'm bound to find it. If the diaphragm's good, I will use it. But for now, this will do. At least it lets me play it. Okay, there we go.